Hello babies and welcome back to my channel. I'm David, you're David, we're all David, and welcome back to Dismantling Hate, the series where we look at some hateful online things. Today we are going to take another look at Sky News Australia. Now this is the news outlet from Australia that brings to us the series called Lefties Losing It. We've looked at that a few times on this channel here, but today we are going to look at a special video that is called Disturbing Footage of a Transgender Contestant Should Not Be Glamorized. And that transgender contestant is none other than Gotmik. We love Gotmik on this channel, of course, because I'm just another woke lefty who's losing it. So we're going to react in real time to this short 5-minute transphobic video from Sky News Australia. Now, ladies, before we get into this, please do not send any of the creators that I feature in my videos any hate. We may not have Michelle Obama's arms, but we do have her attitude, and when they go low, we go high. I do not want you to participate in the culture of hate that we're working so diligently to dismantle, not only on this channel, but around the world. If you like the sound of my voice, consider subscribing to the channel. Tell me what you think in the comments. Leave a like if you like. So we're gonna get into this now. Here's the description of this video. Women's Forum Australia's Stephanie Bastien says footage of a transgender contestant on the popular television series RuPaul's Drag Race is one of the most disturbing things I have ever seen. The footage shows a transgender contestant walking down the runway in a graphic display that referenced the contestant's surgery. This woman clearly has trauma. Now I know they're talking about Gotmik, and Gotmik uses he, him pronouns out of drag, and she, her pronouns in drag, or they, them, but out of drag. Gotmik identifies as a man, Gotmik is a trans man, so we can use he, him. A lot of these right-wing people love to misgender people on purpose. And then it says, I think the media company that has glamorized her self-harm needs to be held accountable. Now, if you haven't seen this, All Stars 9 is currently airing right now. RuPaul's Drag Race. RuPaul's Drag Race. Gentlemen, this is the second time that Gotmik has competed on RuPaul's Drag Race. Trans man, drag queen. To me, it's quite simple. I don't want to talk any more about Gotmik and specifically this runway because I'm interested to see what they're going to say, and then we're gonna react to that together. So I'm gonna slide myself on over, and we're gonna click play on whatever kind of transphobic nonsense is about to happen here. So take a deep breath with me together right now. We can do it. We're gonna do it together.
Joining me now is research fellow with the Women's Forum Australia, Stephanie Bastien. Stephanie, in a moment, we're going to discuss a detransitioner who wants to change Victoria's radical anti-conversion laws, and there are laws that have been replicated now across the country. But first, I want to get your reaction to this runway look from the latest episode of RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars. This is a transgender contestant, a biological female who now identifies as a man, pretending to be a woman for this drag performance.
Like, it's interesting because they're like, how does that make sense? You're born a woman and now you're a man and then you're gonna pretend to be a woman. And like, it is interesting though, because I remember when Gotmik was first cast on his original season, a lot of people were like that, and they're like, that doesn't make sense. And so Gotmik is a really important person in the world of drag, just in the world of queerness in general, of breaking those societal norms. Like, why doesn't it makes no less sense that a trans man is participating in the feminine art of drag as it is that the biological, God, that's the transphobic dog whistle right there, is when someone uses the term biological. Because what are you trying to say? What are you trying to say? You're trying to talk about their genitals, their original genitals, and that's weird. That's weird. Why are you saying that? Anyway, yeah. So Gotmik is a really important person. Every queer person is an important person, but as somebody with a platform, Gotmik is a really important individual to be platforming. But I remember Gotmik kind of teaching the world because a lot of people were a little bit uncomfortable and maybe didn't understand it, but a huge part of this is because people just didn't have experience with it. So it kind of makes sense. So yeah, Gotmik's out here doing the Lord's work. In his name we pray.
This look is something I have been wanting to do for so long because top surgery absolutely changed my life. So I molded my arms. They're wrapping around me with scalpels. I have Swarovski crystal blood. I have a ponytail. And I have 2 Swarovski crystal in a bag. It is everything.
It was so good. I watched this runway like on the TV show well before any of this happened, but it's an incredible runway, and they're blurring it. What was in the bag was a little bit gory because in the bag there were 2 like breasts seemingly, but they were red and they were bloody and you couldn't really make out what was in there. And now that I'm saying that out loud, that does sound gory, but the chest wasn't gory at all. It was just his top surgery scars, and they were just embedded with crystals. Like, and he had put crystals on there to show the scars, because scars are beautiful too. I just, not in the transphobic, like the way that these people are about to behave, but it was gross and disgusting and uncomfortable and those things. But that's the point. I do believe that that was the point. And art is meant to make you feel something. And even if that something is grossed outedness, that's still art. And it doesn't matter if that's the intention of it doesn't matter if that's the intention of the artist or not. That's just what happened. Like, that made me a little bit uncomfortable, but that's why I liked it as well. You know? Being uncomfortable is still a feeling, and art is supposed to elicit a feeling. So let's see what's going on here.
The judges described the look as fierce and gorgeous, but
it was.
Isn't this just normalising the worst excesses of the trans movement, glorifying what they...
Is it the excesses of the trans movement? You mean top surgery? You mean top surgery? You mean top surgery? That's the worst.
Top surgery, which is a double mastectomy, the removal of healthy breasts.
Why do they have to be healthy? Why gotta be healthy? Why did you say it like that? That's weird. Well, we know why she said it like that, is because that sounds more shocking to people. And they're like, oh, wow, they were healthy. So they just like, somebody else, there's a breastless child somewhere who would have loved to have those, and you just cut them off. Like, that's a play on the joke, like when you were a kid and you didn't finish everything on your plate and your mom said, there's children starving in Africa, finish your food. And that's why we have a generation of people with eating disorders. I'm getting off track. It seems a little bit racist to say no to. Now that I think about it, but that's not what we're here to do. That's not what we're here to do.
Absolutely, Rita. This video is probably one of the most disturbing things I have ever seen.
That, like, okay, so either you don't leave your house, or like, I don't know what the other one is. It's just, I want to participate in an ad hominem fallacy. I want to participate in the ad hominem fallacy and call her an idiot, but I'm not going to do that because I don't know if she's an idiot or not. But like, if that's the most disturbing thing you've ever seen, you got a pretty good sheltered life. It's a lot of privilege.
And clearly has trauma. I think the media company that has glamorized her self-harm needs to be held accountable. They need to be racked across the coals because...
Racked across the coals. I can't do an Australian accent. Yeah, the media company glamorizing her. Like, the self-harm and all of that. I'm like, okay, let's lay it out. You wanna get top surgery, you go and you cut off your healthy breasts. I really cannot do an Australian accent. Let's say you go and you do that. Okay. Then you decide, oh wait, no, I want to have breasts. It would be expensive, but hear me out. Go get them. Go get them. Go wear a breastplate. Like, these people are like, oh, it's irreversible. And yeah, to some extent, like, okay, if you get top surgery and then you want to nurse a baby, you won't be able to do that. Probably. I don't really know how that works. Are there, like, is it that important to you? Yeah, if you cut off your healthy breasts and then you want them again, go get them back. Like, it would cost money, but also, like, it stands to reason you could have bigger problems in your life than cutting off healthy breasts and then regretting it. Like, there's lots of other, like, I get it. Like, we don't want people to be, like, cutting off their breasts in an auxiliary fashion just for funsies, but that's not why Gotmik did that. It's just weird.
This is just so damaging and utterly inappropriate. There are just no words for how sick this is. How have we got here as a culture, Rita?
It's just your racist grandparents sitting together on Sunday morning being like, these kids and their Tamagotchis. Like, I don't know if it's I don't know.
Well, it's one thing if an adult wants to do that and they feel happy post-surgery than they did before, well, good and well, but to be glorifying it, to be promoting it as something that is now, we know, happening to young people. I've interviewed detransitioners on this program who
the thing with detransitioners, because we've talked about this a little bit on this channel so far, these right-wing, like, alternative people really love to platform detransitioners being like, look, everybody's going to regret that they're trans, but the fact of the matter is it's just such a small amount of people regret any gender affirming care, and it's not happening at the same, it's not like, if we were to platform all the people in the world that are trans and happy about it versus the people who have detransitioned, if we we were to platform those two groups of people at the same rates, there would be so many more happy trans people. But happy trans people don't get views like this shocking kind of detransition or Ollie London kind of nonsense. So Ollie London, I'm particularly interested in Ollie London. Something's coming with them yet. But yeah, they love to platform detransitioners to be like, oh yeah, everybody's going to regret it. But the fact of the matter is that a higher rate of people regret knee replacement surgery than people do getting top surgery. It's just,
Vasectomies at 15, at 16, and with terrible regrets now. It's not a surgery you can reverse, obviously. So
you can't reverse a vasectomy? I really feel like you can. I'm not very educated on vasectomies, sue me, and I don't think she is either.
Glorifying it, I think, is really such a dangerous thing to be doing. Now, last time we spoke, we discussed this transgender athlete, a man identifying as a woman, who beat the female competitors in the Oregon State Championships.
Right, and then they booed them. Then they booed them. She just did so much. It was a man who identifies as a... Well, I now don't even know what proper pronoun used for this person is, and that's kind of their... I think it's a trans woman. It's a trans woman, yeah.
100-meter race. Now we have yet another example of that same unfair advantage for biological men in action.
It's the same clip over and over, and I'm watching it expecting it to change.
Let's have a look.
So this is from Riley Gaines up in the top right-hand corner, and we've reacted to Riley Gaines on this channel before.
Well, it wasn't close. That was Ella, the new Washington State High School 400-meter champion in the women's division. Another massive slap in the face for the real women there, Stephanie, who have...
Yeah, real women, gross, transphobic. The thing is, I feel like I just keep saying the fact of the matter is, but the fact of the matter is that, okay, even if we're operating under the fundamentally incorrect assumption that all trans women would have a biological advantage over cis women, which is not true. There are genetic variances that take place amongst biological cisgendered women in the same way that trans women would be more or less predisposed for things like swimming or running by bone density and muscle mass, and not even to mention all the things that a person has control over, like weight training and all of that nonsense. Even if we're going to set all of those issues aside, at the end of the day, is this woman, not the two garbage people on the screen right now, is this trans woman who won that race, do you believe that she transitioned in order to beat people at a race? No. And if she did, that's problematic. And I'm sure that has happened, and that is weird and gross and should not be happening. If people are transitioning for the sole purpose of beating people in a race, I feel like that's really childish and immature, but that's a different issue. At the end of the day, if this person has transitioned to be a woman, if this person is a woman, they deserve to participate in sport. They do, and they deserve to participate with the gender that they identify as. Yeah. It's not some malicious thing where these trans women are infiltrating sports in order to win, and it's not some like smear campaign against cis women. That's just not the reality. I want to be like reductionist and say like, get over it, but honestly, get over it.
And sacrificed for years to compete at that level, and now they're replaced. Think about scholarships, you think about all the opportunities that come from elite sport, and they're being stripped away from girls.
Absolutely, but are we surprised that it's not close? Look at his physique compared to his...
Stop saying his. That's so rank. Like, you're telling me that there's no height variances in cisgendered women? You're a lunatic. God. I want to participate in that ad hominem fallacy so bad. Somebody get her a hairstyle that's not meant for the 3rd grade.
Competitors. He's got bigger muscles, longer legs. He has got much better lung capacity. But once again, I'm so pleased to hear that the crowd is not sitting there awkwardly.
I'm so glad to hear that people are hateful. It's giving middle school bully. God, I hate this person. What's with her eyebrows? I know. I shouldn't be attacking her physical appearance, and I'm not. I'm lashing out at her physical appearance because I'm in the comfort of my own home and she's being transphobic. And that is why. It is why.
it. They're pushing back and they're saying no. And I think athletes like Riley Gain have really contributed by being a voice against
Her name is Riley Gaines. How about we actually say it right, who you're referencing? The garbage person that you're referencing. Let's say her name right.
In order to help people speak up more. So I hope that this is replicated in Australia too, because we know that the same unfair disadvantages are happening to women, particularly in localised sport.
Now, an Australian detransitioner, Mel Jeffries, has called for a review similar to the caste review that we saw in the UK to be held right here in Australia. She writes, as a woman who began IDing as transgender at age 16 and since detransitioned after over a decade, the current conversion therapy laws have hindered my ability to process and recover from my transition.
What? What?
She has also started a petition to halt gender affirmation practices in Victoria. It's brave of her to speak out like this publicly.
We need to stop Victoria's affirmation only model, and we need to break the school to clinic pipeline. That's just not a thing. Please share my petition for the Victorian Parliament. Only Vic residents can sign.
Stephanie, there's such a backlash that detransitioners can receive from trans activists.
Yeah, detransitioners can receive backlash if they're pushing that experience onto everybody else and they're saying that that's the norm, right? It would be like me weighing 330 pounds, which was the reality at one point, and now me on the other side, like being fat phobic and awful to fat people. It's like, yeah, you can be a part of that community and then you cannot be a part of, like, it doesn't, just because you were there doesn't mean you get a pass. You know what I mean? Yeah.
How many others are too intimidated to speak out?
I think there's quite a lot, and their parents as well. I really admire Mel because I think she's very brave. She's used a bad situation and she is, instead of being a victim, pushing back and ensuring that others don't make the same mistake. So I hope everyone gets on board and supports her petition.
Could somebody please get this woman some facial muscles? Like, is she going to emote at all?
We need this inquiry.
Or maybe it's Botox. Maybe it's Botox here. Jealous, honestly. I got a big old wrinkle through the middle there. One day.
The voices of detransitioners that can make it happen.
Stephanie Bastian, thank you for your time tonight.
There's something about her smile that I just hate so much. All right, babies, that brings us to the end of another Impossible Watch. Thank you so much for spending these last few minutes with me here. I really do appreciate it. If you like the sound of my voice, consider subscribing to the channel. Let me know what you thought in the comments. Leave a like if you like. And if you're interested in any of this other kind of content, I have a Dismantling Hate playlist. This is episode 36. That seems right. 36. That's a lot. That's a lot. So yeah, binge those other episodes if you are interested in that. Thank you so much for the support. I really do appreciate it. And yeah, until next time, goodbye.